Auto Trader Touring Car Championship teams really want to win. And there are 22 cars on the track in front of the huge Grand Prix crowd. And a new manufacturer on pole position at Silverstone. Honda with a new, more powerful engine propelling David Leslie and the Accord to the head of a truly international field. Roberto Ravaglia from Venice, second on the grid in his BMW, ahead of Sweden's Rickard Rydell in the Volvo, while double Brands Hatch winner Alan Menu from Switzerland is fifth in the Renault. Championship leader Frank Bieler and his four-wheel drive Audi's got ground to make up from seventh, while Flying Scotsman John Cleland, the reigning champion, is ninth in the Vectra. So on pole position, David Leslie in the Honda for the first time, with Ravaglia alongside him. Then it's the two Volvos, Rickard Rydell and Kelvin Burt on row 2, Alan Menu and Joe Winkelhock on row 3. Frank Bieler's Audi lines up on row 4 with James Thompson beside him. Then it's John Cleland on row 5 with Will Hoy. James Kay in the second Honda on row 6 with Tim Harvey's Peugeot. Then Steve Robinson and Paul Radicic in the two Mondeos. John Bincliffe down on row 8 in his Audi alongside Patrick Watts. Then the non-works team with Richard Kay and Lee Brooks heading the pack. Alongside me, Charlie Cox provides the voice of experience, while on the track we've got 15 laps, 3.15-mile circuit, and the lights go to green. And David Leslie spins his wheels. It's Ravaglia makes the best start in the BMW. Leslie tucks into second place. Then it's the two Volvos, Rydell and Burt. Joe Winkelhock right down the pit wall on the left side of the screen. But it's Ravaglia in the lead. Then Leslie, Rydell, Bieler, Burt, Winkelhock, Thompson, and John Bincliffe's in trouble.
He's gone wide, but that four-wheel drive will get him out of the gravel, all right.
So Bincliffe rejoins at the tail of the field, but it's Roberto Ravaglia at the head of it. Former World Touring Car Champion, the Italian driving the German BMW. Then it's the Honda driven by the Scotsman David Leslie. Then the all-Swedish lineup, Rickard Rydell and the Volvo ahead of Kelvin Burt, through Beckett, now on to the long Hanger Straight.
They'll be touching almost 150 miles an hour down the Hanger Straight here towards the Stoke corner on the first lap around. Leslie's already having a look, but no, Ravaglia's going to hold him back, I think. Leslie will be kicking himself about that start. Ravaglia made a great start, but Leslie's was equally slow. He bogged it down and, quite frankly, very lucky to hang on to second.
Down into the Vale, now braking hard for Club Corner. Leslie closes in, Rydell closes in on the tail of Leslie, and the BMW's pulling away out of Club.
Not for long, though. That Honda's really got a good line out of that corner. The BM's getting well sideways, has run wide. The Honda's up on the inside. Leslie's got a fabulous run out of there. It's going to be a real dice into this tight left-hander. One person only can get through first. He's got the line, he's through on the inside. Ravaglia holds the lead. But Leslie, boy, is he getting some squirt out of this Honda. He's all over him.
Honda fitted a new engine to the Accords for this race, and boy, oh boy, is it working.
Leslie's having a look down the outside. He'll take the long way around. No, he tucks in, and here comes Rydell. He wants to get in on the act as well.
Three-car scrap for the lead, and Rydell's pushing Leslie. Leslie's sideways. Oh, tremendous car control, but he's lost a lot of ground.
That might be car control. He's now going to need self-control. He'll be furious. There'll be a red mist, and Leslie will be thinking, don't get angry, get even.
Riding with Joe Winkelhock in sixth place. Leslie now fighting for fourth. Kelvin Burt there on the inside. But ahead of Leslie now goes Frank Bieler. And look at Winkelhock right down the pit wall. He's making his move. He's trying for that fourth place. But look at Leslie right across the bows of the BMW. He regains the place. Joe takes to the gravel. And look at James Thompson right around the outside. Superb driving in the Vectra. Kelvin Burt now in sixth place. Winkelhock, he's been forced down to seventh. And Alan Menu's making a move too in the Renault. Winkelhock really in the thick of the action. He's got a Renault either side of him now. Menu in front, Will Hoy behind.
Joe's really been shuffled back through this last couple of corners. The old adage, slow in, fast out. He's done the reverse.
But now out in front, it's still Roberto Ravaglia leads Rickard Rydell, then Frank Bieler in the Audi third. And look at Joe Winkelhock, makes his move on Alan Menu, lunges down the inside. But Menu closes the door. Through Stoke corner, down into the Vale. Menu stays ahead. But look ahead of the Renault. Kelvin Burt's making a move in the Volvo too. He's determined to find a way past James Thompson. And he's done it.
Brilliant pass. He really, really held the inside line there tight and carried the momentum. He hasn't lost anything from that pass. He's getting out of this club corner really well now. The Volvo's handling brilliantly.
Riding with Alan Menu in the Renault, still in seventh place. Burt now fifth. James Thompson sixth. And it's Menu into the new chicane at Abbey. Two wheels on the curb. balancing the car, then clip the curb on the other side. The dirt's thrown up by the cars ahead. 120 miles an hour through Bridge Corner, down into the complex.
And here comes the Volvo. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water, it's back. All over the back of that BMW. Boy, is it menacing, and it's really handling. Much tighter through the complex. You can see it's ducking and diving. It's getting through this complex without any problem at all, and still sticking with this BMW on the way out. The tighter line doesn't seem to hurt it. It's still being able to hang on to the back. Now the legs of the BMW are starting to work. It's stretching up the lead as we come down the pit straight, past the pit wall, into the really tight copse.
Roberto Ravaglia holds on ahead of Rickard Rydell's Volvo, but watch the tail of the rear-wheel drive BMW. It's twitching. Ravaglia is working very hard indeed inside that car. But the race is over for Matthew Neal. He's limping into the pits in his Mondeo. And that looks like the race well and truly over for the Midlands driver. But it's the Venetian Roberto Ravaglia out in front from the Swede Rickard Rydell, the German Frank Bieler. We take a look back now at that opening lap.
Looking back from Ravaglia's car, we've got Leslie coming right up behind us. Rydell behind him, starts the push, bang, right into the corner pocket with the Honda.
And Leslie holding on well there to recover in fourth place. But also out of the race, it's Patrick Watts pulling off the track, parking up in the new Peugeot.
There's no body damage there, Steve. Obviously, something's broken.
The race goes on for Ravaglia in the BMW, pursued by Rydell and Bieler. All three cars right on the limit. A new lap record for the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. And you can see Frank Bieler, beautiful, classical four-wheel drift in the four-wheel drive Audi. Flat out now, 140 miles an hour, the run up to the Abbey chicane, then hard on the brakes, down to second gear for the left and the right. Top three locked together, Ravaglia, Rydell, Bieler. Then it's David Leslie fourth, and Kelvin Bird heads the pack in fifth.
It's a car, Patrick. Let's see what's under here.
And the battle's on between Alan Menu and James Thompson for sixth. Menu looks down the inside. Oh, and Thompson leaves him some room, but he's quicker. And look at Menu's car kicking up the smoke, but he's running wide. Thompson's fighting. Joe Winkelhock gets a nudge up the back. That'll be Will Hoy in the Renault clipping the tail of the BMW. It's a real four-way dogfight, side by side, out of left field. Menu on the outside, Thompson on the inside, trading paint. Across the line up to 130 miles an hour, and it's still side by side on the run down to Copse. Now Winkelhock takes a look down the inside, later on the brakes. Can he hold it? Yes, this time he's through.
Second time proves it. He muffed that maneuver last time, and it's worked for him. This time he's held them out.
And Will Hoy's challenging his teammate Alan Menu, but he's got the outside line now into Beckett's. Two Renault Lagunas side by side. Menu goes again, takes the place, 8th position.
Brilliant passing. Up behind Thompson now. Look at the back of that Vauxhall jumping around like popcorn in a pan. He's hanging onto it though. Fearless James Thompson.
Out onto Hanger Straight, fastest part of the circuit. The speed building up towards 150 miles an hour. And just watch how late they brake for Stowe Corner. Less than 100 metres from the corner, hit the brake pedal, and look at the sparks from under the spoiler of Menu's Renault.
That's a big flowing corner, and they actually run in under brakes here, carrying the speed through. That's why you're seeing those sparks.
And there's pieces of trim hanging off Kelvin Bird's 5th place Volvo. Then it's Joe Winkelhock in 6th, James Thompson in 7th, Alan Menu and Will Hoy 8th and 9th. We're riding with Menu, 8th position, the Vectra ahead. The Vectra seems to have the straight line speed, starting to pull away a little bit there from the Renault Laguna. Menu, again, very quick on the brakes. The Renault's got one of the best chassis in the Touring Car Championship. Very quick through the corners. You can see him hauling Thompson in. It's the curbs at the exit of Abbey. Now flat out, 6th gear as you go under the bridge, through Bridge Corner, tiptoeing on the power and gets the run on Thompson.
Thompson's not giving up too easily, though. You can see Menu's leaving a bit of room as Thompson stays on the outside of him, side by side, all the way through the complex. Menu moving wide now, chops the line off, he's got it covered, Thompson has to stay in back.
Menu's got Winkelhock in his sights, and things are looking better for the Renaults, because Hoy's challenging too. He's past Thompson. Thompson lost momentum, perhaps.
Absolutely right. Once Menu moved wide on the second part of the complex, Thompson obviously lost the run out of it, and as often happens, that's allowed Hoy to sneak up the inside as well.
And a little bit of tyre smoke there from the front of Hoy's car. Perhaps he touched the back of the Vectra on his way through. It's frantic in the midfield, but it's just as tense out in front. It's still the game of cat and mouse. Roberto Ravaglia and Rickard Rydell starting to pull away now from Frank Bieler in 3rd place. And It's the Italian in the BMW, right on the limit again. Big armfuls of lock in the BMW. The Volvo seems to have the better handling, but the BMW is the car that's out in front, and David Leslie's closing in on Frank Bieler now down Hanger Straight. So it's Honda in fourth place, Audi third, Volvo second, and BMW in the lead.
That Volvo's really monstering the back of the BMW, and gee, isn't it handling well? Absolutely brilliant. He's being able to turn in very early and get his power on early. It seems to me that Rydell can pick any line he likes and still stay onto the back of that BMW in front.
Three totally different driving styles: the rear-wheel drive, tail-happy BMW, the front-wheel drive Volvo, and the classic four-wheel drive, four-wheel drift from Frank Bieler in the Audi. Now we're on the front bumper of John Cleland's Vauxhall Vectra, 12th place. Tim Harvey in the Peugeot ahead.
Big belch of flames from Harvey's car. That's the overrun on the fuel. They put a lot of fuel through these cars as they lift on the throttle. Bang, the unburnt fuel just goes straight out of the exhaust system. Great shot here from Cleland's car. He's having a look up the inside with Harvey. Hard under brakes, he can't do it there. Puts on the power out of the chicane. As you can see, you're actually going slightly uphill there. Now he's on the inside for the run into bridge. This will be interesting. He's having none of it. Harvey's actually going to hold the inside line. Cleland will probably look to go wide here, then cut left sharply on the inside. He's having a look, but the straights are too short through the complex. He can't do it. More smoke and unburnt rubbish coming out of the back of the Peugeot, which is running pretty rich. He has a look down the inside now. A very good look. Woo! Big kiss from Cleland as we move back onto the straight. He's got to fall back into line behind the Peugeot, so he gets a proper run. If he tries to look down the inside, then he'll lose momentum. As you can see, he didn't. He's all over the back of Harvey.
And it's not just Cleland chasing Harvey for that 10th place. Behind John Cleland are the two Mondeos, Paul Radicic and Steve Robertson. Then John Bincliffe in the Audi, the privateer Cavalier of Richard Kay. But out in front, it's still Roberto Ravaglia heading the field in the BMW. Then Rickard Rydell in the Volvo, Frank Bieler in the Audi third, David Leslie fourth in his Honda. We're riding now, Steve Robertson, 14th place. Radicic ahead of him, his teammate. Oh, and it's all gone wrong.
Steve Robertson has actually lost it into that right-hander. Oh, stuck in the gravel, that'll be the end of it. He's just clipped the curb on the way through Beckett. Should carry a lot of speed through there, just back into fifth gear from sixth.
And Ravaglia's still got his mirrors full of Volvo and Audi, with David Leslie closing in that fourth position in the Honda, the car right on the pace. If he hadn't had that nudge, who knows what might have been for the Scotsman. Meanwhile, Tim Harvey's got his mirrors too full. Another Scotsman, it's John Cleland on the left-hand side of the Peugeot.
These two are still going hammer and tongs, banging wheels as they go down into Stowe Corner at the end of the long straight. Side by side, neither of them known for giving way. This will be really interesting to see who actually sorts out whom into the next corner.
Into club, and it's three abreast. Paul Radicic joins in as well.
Oh, Harvey loses the shuffle there.
But Cleland's got the inside line through club. Vectra hopping on its suspension. Radicic trying as hard as possible, and Harvey comes back. Brilliant stuff. But it's Cleland who comes out in front. He's got that 10th place behind James Kay's Honda. And the pressure really is on now. Roberto Ravaglia. Rydell again far quicker into the complex through Brooklands Corner. You can see the rear-wheel drive BMW's tail stepping out when it goes onto the power. The Volvo closes in again. That more precise handling. The Tom Walkinshaw Racing team really have got that Volvo 5-cylinder 850 handling superbly. The BMW with Ravaglia at the wheels still out in front. Just over half distance now, and it's only 0.23 of a second in it for the race leaders. Kelvin Burt there in 5th position. There's Joe Winkelhock 6th, Alan Menu 7th, his teammate Will Hoy in 8th place, ahead of James Thompson, then James Kay. And Tim Harvey back at the front of that scrap for the top 10.
You can make your own arrangements, mate. We're out of here. We're going to go and check the thermos.
Marshall's running for cover as the pack arrive past Steve Robertson's stricken car at Beckett's. And Joe Winkelhock through Beckett's has closed right up on the tail of Kelvin Burt's 5th place Volvo. So the pack have closed in on Burt. Maybe Burt has a problem with his tyres, but the BMW obviously much quicker in a straight line.
Yeah, look at the power. He's absolutely reeling him in down towards Stowe Corner. He'll get him under brakes there by the look of it. No, Burt's not very interested in that. He'll stay wide. Winkelhock uses the curbs. That doesn't help enough. Burt's not interested at all. Down towards the left-hander again. Let's try this on the other side. He has got the line this time, Joe. Yeah, nice, smooth, easy pass. Interesting now to see how they actually come through this club corner under the straight. because the BMW has been a little bit more difficult to get around there. We've seen it with Rivaglia, and similarly there, Joe's running wide. Thanks very much, you've let me through, but it was a much wider line that he took than the Volvo.
Winkelhock then heads Kelvin Bird, still trailing the trim from his Volvo. Now Alan Menu right on the tail of the Volvo. Will Hoy in the second Renault dropping back a little bit. He's got John Cleland right behind him. Now Menu has to find a way past Kelvin Burt. Carrying a bit more momentum through bridge, looks down the inside, into Priory. Oh, up on the curbs, onto two wheels. Comes back down onto four, though, through into that sixth place. Kelvin Burt, though, from fifth to seventh in just two corners.
Into the pits now, James Kay. Look at the water pouring from that Honda at the front.
Roberto Ravaglia, though, continues to soak up the pressure from Rickard Rydell in second, Frank Bieler in third, David Leslie in the Honda in fourth place. Then it's Joe Winkelhock fifth, ahead of Alan Menu in the Renault, Kelvin Burt in the Volvo, Will Hoy in the second Renault is eighth. Then it's the two Vectras, James Thompson and John Cleland. Reigning champion John Cleland, the number one car, but he's running down in 10th place behind his teammate. And Roberto Ravaglia hurls the car over the curbs at Beckett's. He really is right on the limit. He hasn't had a single chance to relax all the way through this race.
He's been driving it very, very hard. It's not a comfortable drive for him at all. He seems to be able to hold everybody at bay with the power he's got, but as soon as he deals into those fast corners, that Volvo starts to eat him alive. Leslie's not out of this as well. He's moving up with the Volvo and the Audi.
And David Leslie really must be sick as a parrot after that nudge on the opening lap. That really did spoil his chances.
Yeah, he'll still be fuming. He might have simmered down a little bit, but not enough. In car now with Alan Menu, not having such a good race here as he did at Brands Hatch. Silverstone's not quite as friendly a Renault circuit as Brands Hatch is. Sharper corners here with long straights, so it doesn't allow Menu to carry the speed. Now we've got Thompson having a look at the other, watching pretty carefully that he doesn't wreck his run onto the straight when he's trying to get past Hoy. He's having a look down the inside. It's a long straight, but that's the wrong side to be on. No, have a look up the other side now. He's weaving. He's trying to frustrate and put Hoy off, and at the same time see if he can find a gap. No way. Hoy's too far in front there.
Also on the run-up to Abbey, the fast-moving John Bincliffe makes his move on Tim Harvey. Oh, and Harvey didn't see him.
Oh, they're heavy, those Audis, aren't they? Bang, he's bounced straight off it.
Well, Harvey's got out of the gravel trap, but looks like teams.
I think Paul's taking driving tips from his teammate there. Unfortunately, both of them up. I don't know if he was helped. Let's have a look at this incident now between Harvey and Bincliffe coming up into the old Abbey left-hander. Bincliffe takes a look down the inside. He runs straight to the apex quite wide. Harvey's driven straight into the side. He must have been unsighted, that's all, because of the deep line that Bincliffe had taken. But that's absolutely wrecked the front of Harvey's car. He's skipped across the gravel, but I assume turning in that hard. We'll have a look at it from Harvey's car. Oh, yes, when you're turned in like that, the most likely thing to hit Bincliffe's car is your front wheel turn. That wrecks your steering. As you can see, he's getting out of the car. It won't work now, forget it.
Back with the leaders, though, and it's still Roberto Ravaglia with his mirrors absolutely full of Volvo, Audi and Honda. And Paul Radicic is heading for the pit lane. He's made the track, but the race is going no further for him. But just 1 second covering the top three cars, Ravaglia, Rydell and Bieler. And it's Leslie ahead of Joe Winkelhock, Alan Menu. And the race-long battle continues between Will Hoy and James Thompson in the Renault and the Vauxhall. Through Stowe, into the Vale, it's Hoy that's got the advantage, but Thompson's taking a look. Hoy takes the tighter inside line, forcing Thompson to go the long way round. Can't do it this time. Both the cars right in the curbs, and Thompson up onto two wheels there at Club. The Yorkshireman's right on the limit, but it's Hoy still ahead. And Lee Brooks is catching Owen Macaulay at Abbey.
Macaulay turns, I don't know what that's all about. He's turned in and covered him. Macaulay's going off backwards. Oh, straight into the bunker. What a race.
Owen Macaulay will be very frustrated about that. The car axle deep in the gravel trap. Going to get his feet dirty getting out of that one.
It's well and truly beached. He'll have his engine box full of dirt as well. Let's have a look at that again. You've got Macaulay on the outside. Brooks has a look down the inside. Macaulay goes to cover. Pretty wide manoeuvre, if you ask me. And there's the end result. These two have been racing each other all season. Everywhere they go, Brands, Snetterton, they're always banging wheels, swapping paint with each other. They're having a fabulous old time together. This time Macaulay's actually come off much worse.
And the battle of cat and mouse goes on at the head of the field. Roberto Ravaglia still covering every single move that Rickard Rydell makes. And Rydell must be very aware that time is running out for his challenge. Frank Bieler, he's happy there to sit there in third place. Maybe the two in front will take each other off. Either way, he's in for championship points.
I don't know if he's so happy to sit there. I think he's actually driving the doors off this Audi. So is Ravaglia with his BMW. He's really, really pumping hard. The car drifts wide there. You can see once again the Volvo holds a better line. He's now all over the BMW. Up the inside, having a look, one side, then the other. Thinks he'll have a bit of a munch on the back of it. But once again, the BM pulls away under power, opens up a gap. Volvo closes up again under brakes. The Volvo's really handling well. The BM seems to be quite tail happy. If you look at the attitude of the car when you get a side shot, you can see it's quite high in the tail. That helps the car turn in pretty well, but it also makes it more lively. The Volvo is a dead level car. It hasn't got what they call rake in the handling, which is where the front is lower than the back. Now we're looking at the other BM to see how that handles, and that's from a Renault point of view, and that's a good handler.
Renault's regarded as the best handling chassis in the championship, but Joe Winkelhock's still keeping his BMW in 5th place ahead of Alan Menu. Closes the door again, but he's leaving it a little bit wide. Menu has a chance. Winkelhock again uses that BMW's power. You can see it pulling away through Woodcote Corner up to 130 miles an hour across the start-finish line. This is Roberto Ravaglia, the race leader, still with Rickard Rydell right on his tail, then Bieler, then David Leslie, then Joe Winkelhock with Menu's Renault right behind. And it's on to the last lap. There are only a dozen corners left for Rickard Rydell from Sweden to pull the trump out, to actually get his way past Roberto Ravaglia. Ravaglia is one of the most experienced touring car racers in the world, the only touring car world champion. He's been the German touring car champion, the Italian touring car champion. Now he's got his sights set on British touring car championship honours as well. But amazingly, if he makes it to the checkered flag today, this will be the first ever British Touring Car Championship win for Roberto Ravaglia. And it looks as if he is heading that way. He's pulled out a little bit of a gap on Rickard Rydell, but it could be Rydell's cooling his tyres down for a last lap lunge through the complex. Through Club Corner, half the lap remaining. Rydell takes a little bit of a breather. Bieler's dropped back a little bit. David Leslie's keeping up the pressure, and Joe Winkelhock is closing in on the Honda as well. The top 6 cars just covered by a handful of seconds, heading up to the checkered flag. Into Abbey for the last time, and Rydell is closing. Flips the curbs in the Volvo. This is now into the slower stop-start part of the circuit. Through Bridge, now into the complex. This is where the Volvo had the advantage. Let's see if it closes in. Oh, and he locks his wheels. Rydell right on the limit, and he is closing in, right on the tail of Ravaglia. Through the left-hander at Brooklands, now the 2 right-handers at Luffield. After that, it's just Woodcote Corner and the sprint to the finish. Through Luffield too. The BMW steps out of line, he's on the curbs. Rydell's closing in, up to 100 miles an hour. It's not going to be enough though. Rydell is going to be right on the boot link, but it's going to be Roberto Ravaglia takes his first touring car win in the British Touring Car Championship.
And look at Cleland and Hoy. Cleland gives Hoy the hip and shoulder. Blam! Take that, Cleland. You're not getting away with punting me off, matey boy.
So last lap dramas for reigning champion John Cleland, but a fine victory for Roberto Ravaglia. Leads from start to finish after the most incredible pressure from Rickard Rydell. Ravaglia will be a very happy man at Silverstone. Victory by just 0.19 of a second. Frank Bieler in 3rd place, and David Leslie recovering to finish 4th in the Honda. Joe Winkelhock was 5th ahead of Alan Menu in 6th, Kelvin Burt 7th, James Thompson 8th, and the battling Will Hoy and John Cleland round out the top 10. So Frank Bieler's 3rd place keeps him 49 points ahead in the championship, with Menu 2nd, but Rickard Rydell closing the gap to be just 3 points behind. And David Leslie is in the top 10 now with that fine 4th place in the Honda Accord. And victory in the Total Cup for Privateers goes to Richard Kay in the green and white Vauxhall Cavalier after an incredible display of more than on-the-limit driving. But he's still 2nd in the championship behind Lee Brooks in the Toyota, 18 points ahead.
And I'm joined here by the afternoon now. Are you able to reflect more philosophically about the events of yesterday?
It was an interesting day. I made a Rickard Rydell style start. I went from 9th place to about 15th, and then spent the rest of the race trying to fight my way back through again. My car was very good, very consistent all the way through, and the tyres were excellent right to the end, and I was able to charge right to the very end. I passed James going through Club, got right on Will's boot lid as I was coming into the complex, and I sold him a bit of a dummy going under bridge. And into Priory, he ran little narrow in there, and I just got down inside him between Priory and Brooklands, and he obviously decided that he didn't like the move and sent me off grass cutting. I think we'll have to get some sponsorship from Flymo.
You got another race this afternoon after the Grand Prix. Form is balanced on a knife edge in this championship. What could change things? A little bit of rain might be around.
I think if it rained, I start 10th in this round, and if it rained, the four-wheel Audis will for sure win the race, but we will be on the podium. Our car is excellent in the wet. In the dry, it's so competitive, a half a second is the difference between being 10th and being 4th. The trouble is, by the time you fight your way through, as was in that race there, from 10th place, by the time you get up to 4th or 5th place, the leaders have gone. So the idea is if we can qualify a little better, then we can certainly race. That's not a problem. It's just finding that extra little bit here, just a little bit here and there.
We'll have highlights of that towards the end of the programme this afternoon, but you fellas have become big names in motor racing, not quite rivaling the profiles of some of the Formula One boys, but how do you all relate together? Will you head back now and find a television set and watch it with the same enthusiasm as the rest of us?
Yes, I've been at Grand Prix now since 1989 as a competitor, and I don't think I've ever watched a Grand Prix actually live at the side of the circuit. I've always watched it on television. You can see much more that way. But yeah, I mean, we will go and watch, and we'll be rooting for various different drivers. I personally would like to see David Coulthard win the race, but I think from
For geographical reasons.
Yeah, for geographical reasons, slightly patriotic reasons. But I suspect that Damon will have the upper hand today, and that it's looking very much like it's Damon's day. And if, just going by the support that he has here today, if he can win on that alone, then the race is his now. But yeah, we'll go and watch with keen interest, and it's always good to watch the way that some of the drivers think in a race situation and working up to certain moves. And there's some drivers do that in touring cars, and some just seem to wake up to the fact that there's an opportunity there, and they don't plan the moves too well. So it's very interesting to watch that.
Saloon car racing and single-seater racing at the highest level, are they contrasting arts, or do they have a vast amount in common?
Well, I think we've seen a driver as a driver no matter what he drives, but having said that, Nigel Mansell drove a touring car many years ago, and unfortunately didn't fare too well in it. Likewise, I think if I got in an F1 car, I wouldn't really do it justice either. It's everyone to their own sport, and I think what I do very well, and what people like Damon Hill does is equally, it's an art, and it's something that you learn to do, and you learn to do well. I don't pretend to be a Formula One driver, and I'm quite sure Damon wouldn't want to be a touring car driver.
Well, enjoy watching the race, and we'll watch you in action.